So my name is Minnie. I go by the name just Minnie A on Instagram. And this is a conversation. Honestly, it's probably like the end of a documentary, part whatever that I've ended it on. And it's a dialogue between me and God. It's a dialogue between me and selves of myself that just needed to unravel and just sort of close some chapters. So for the first time ever in my life, I have written in the most basic format that my words could find. And the reason is because I write very intellectually. So in order for me to grasp my own breath, I've just come back from being in the mountains for about 3 weeks. And I was like, the only way I'll grasp my own breath is if I stop adding everything that sometimes, it goes against the grain of spoken words sometimes. But when you actually let go of all words and all synonyms and all similes and metaphors, and at some point you reach that place where you're like, excuse my tone, I'm not going to shit myself anymore. And I'm not going to joke around with the person that I'm actually becoming. And I do believe I hold a stand within myself. And sometimes it does take the likes of Samuels, Meta, Duncan, Haroon, Kareem, just reminding me in so many ways that being this present is not actually a bad thing. And I'm just coming to terms with this present setting right now. And they say it's the calm before the storm. So bear with me. It's a long piece, but it's one piece. Yeah. Where you find pauses, where you feel that there is a need that you guys want to breathe, just breathe it out. I sort of did it in one breath, but I know there are so many different breaths that I had to take in between these pieces. So yeah, it's called I Had a Dialogue with God. So here goes everything. All right. I had a dialogue with God. He told me in observation, everything but nothing stayed within my palm. Everything moving and rendering within the reach of everything but calm. It rendered deep within to channel, just only the true path. In there I witnessed lay bare waste to land that we had witnessed. Shackled in deep, there was too much there just to listen. On screams that shake one to make one breathe once more, I sat with God and God told me as he always does before. On barren land they came, and through barren land they went, so much so to the point that my land became stigmatized to my own pen. Oh, to what it sows, writes to what it breeds. Every ink on this paper now sheds the truth between those lands and those genes. There lie, there they lie awake, he said, forlorn, empty to the vessel that deserves to pour on, weak in physicality, reaping through duality, crossing crossroads with the thresholds the truth seals through very, very much of this reality. Shakes you to your inner core, ignites you once more, at the core of the crux in which you break your last score. I met him again, time and time again. Through my backbone that's fully strapped on, I shed through his reptilian skin. So much so, I forgot to put on an armor, lay bare in the palms that waste once scattered. I know they harm her. Yet she sits there witnessing through growth that teaches one before there becomes a preaching. These are the barren lands on which I witnessed myself ablaze. Over and over again, I witnessed reptilians change shape. From nothing to something, from land to buildings, from wisdom through awareness came this very teaching. That ricochet effect that comes back time and time again. You see, I rotate axis on axis so that we could see through just this clear lens. But somehow received through this lens was the very space between you and I, now rendered deep in our surroundings. God comes down. He often just comes by. Ooh. Yeah. Sits there rather forlorn. In this empty corner we have gifted him to tell him how far we came between you and I, and that present story now just uplifts him. Through the ink that we spill, through the pen that we crack open, only to tell him how old this story has grown old, and in shackles we have just felt broken. Through torn families and empty homes, through friendships carved, and some just moved on. Through systems that educated us but left us high and dry. All this glory to this one manifestation that few could just abide. You see, but for a long time, I just looked for my family for this answer. in which no memory or remedy sits but the support of love that led me just to ponder upon words such as gratitude, kindness, and love and compassion. So I read over the holy verses, and in that I could not fathom as to how much of these words we gave away in order to receive, but few came back this way. To the glory of giving and giving, but never pausing to receive. But I suppose that has been the highest of the sacred games in which we can all rise or fall or do something, you see. I decided to see. You see, I gave, and I had nothing left in me. So much so this vessel projected me into the lens of another. Every flash lens cannot catch even this flight and flee that embraced my emptiness in the arms of another, then a brother, then a substance, and then just masking, and now glory that justified every need in this tasking. So yeah, between you and I, God and I've committed the highest of sins, rejected every notion beyond commotion. Man, I've been through the past tense and present states, so many states within me that led me astray. Now I simply called out to anxiety, cried out for crying's sake. It didn't even hide me, made me vulnerable to my knees, but those that plunder can hear only my mercy. So I cried out some more. He heard my score on my old scoreboard, and he told me to just hold on some more. He said, patience breeds vary, my child, in these shackles unknown. When I gave you the tongue to speak without patience, you seemed rather bold. I told him, I know. This tongue has no grasp upon every melody that entwined me from birth. Now skills are the mask through these stages that seem rather agitated. He said to me, place a pen to paper, and in that scribe in me. Rather old this tale came as I sat here to reflect through these stories in which our grounds just simply bled. These resistant days became activation in silence that broke through the melody that now just reaps through violence. Rather CIA the mind becomes, but they call it OCD. I dug past the grave and held the shovel, but the vessel informed me there was no bothering me. These resistance days became activation in silence that broke through the melody that reaps through violence. But rather CIA the mind becomes, but they call it OCD. I dug past the graves and held the shovel, but the vessel informed me that there was no bothering me. He said, I have grown old and weary, yet accustomed to your ways. Yet you reap, you sow, and in that I see your true face. This true face was revealing, and in every faction it broke me, made me realize that at this gate I would neglect heaven before heaven could even reject me. Yeah, I need a moment at this point, Yeah. You see, this true face was revealing, and in every faction it broke me, made me realize that at this gate I would neglect heaven before heaven could even reject me. So much so that a sin is all I'll see, that one day, many days, I seem to have forgotten just simply to breathe. Just this line, breathing. Grasping through the highest of teachings. Once given, it becomes known, so just seep in. That very breath that you take so you can be with, just me, he said. Nothing else in this prayer I will make you forget. Since so many times I came to thee, but somehow between karma and maya I lost you, just you that could have just been freed. Yet somehow at this very crossroad, despite knowing we bend roads, to carve a way that's known and been there before, to live out the eulogy that breeds to breed, because you give it just this timesheet to score your old score timesheet. Checkmate was the point that this became my own very reality. So much so that stuck between these dualities was simply just sex, money, power, and more greed. All states seem to sit in this very state in which a war is declared through each move we make. Peace is reached with every step we take into realizing therapy comes with movement, and movement is your remedy, and in that truth we could all just be okay. But somehow, past this one projection, we seem so many projects that can dim that light. So much so that when the inner state is dismissed, personalities in dualities abide to bring one back to the sudden moment of realization that between states gathered and found all I required, and I realize now, is just a bit of patience. Patience, he said. Something I said I lack of. Through trials and tribulations at being Jack of all kings, I realized that there was no real hack though. No matter which button I pressed, the button seemed to regress. Every time I settled the states, it told me all I needed to do was calm down. Everything seems, through emotional wealth, mental stealth, physical lens, on visuals felt. I seem to have lost it all to the notion of letting go, just so I can feel what it may be to just hold on. But as I write through this pen, the ink scribes to resent, to not tell this story again, through which landmines become projects through which my eulogy presents. Every state has now just been carved out to pour out through this vessel that only wants to calm down. I'm just trying to tell you an emotion-full but a very emotionless story, on which I was born in lands so far, far away. Today, simply igniting in these words just sets me ablaze. Yeah, between you and I, God has seen it all. Once you've asked for what you receive, you might just want to stop asking for some more. Shh. Shh. I know, right? For it takes a while to process this very journey along in understanding what it feels to be me again. Once again, be reborn. So a very alien language I speak right now. Sometimes I don't know any other way. For when the journey comes this far, I've told it it's a second birth within the cellular cycle, and that can leave one astray to the things that I witness now with my eyes wide open. God asks me, are you now amazed? So I sit there just being so humble, breathing through his presence. There is no notion left to give but speak through. I tried to write over and over again these lines, but the pen spoke out and said, I'm not leaving you. So you, my child, he said, and this is the one that gets me. He said, so you, my child, have been homeless, resisted all states past recovery, lived a grihastha life, but I broke your will in glee. You took it all in, with strength you moved my way. Even when I cut the cord and many chords, you screamed just to be okay. You challenged the gift of living, where the living are found dead. You gave hope in a place where many uttered nothing past the next breath. You moved through my verses, rather dialectical you have become. I see how you cherish my life, and in that I'll just let you carry on. I've seen how you care. I've seen how you smile. Without any need for a giving back, you give in all just that while. The very while that was taken away between every human that breathes through me. You seem to be a fine example of how I would aim to place that ideology today. For nothing renders short of me, my child, and you have fallen never so short. To speak the truth spoken and let the truth always be told. Sometimes it takes a while to get this very space where you echo nothing but my sweet words, and in that you seem just okay. So for a while now, for a very long time, I've let you be my child, so you could see through those clouds that shape around in forms unknown, perhaps unfamiliar to your surroundings, but for a vessel is to be boundless before it enters my threshold. Must learn from their surroundings. For the gift of self is one to ponder in every birthplace that we reach. I hope you remember next time, my child, that before something became your very reason, just this very reason to breathe. So let patience be the furnace to which you pour it all out. Just know that I sit at the very cusp upon which you just held me so proud. So forever known you've known me, and forever I will be an aim to your vessel that needs my support just to be free. You see, there lie his statement. And in his statement now I lie awake to the very essence in which I held my tongue so another was not left astray. Today, my father spoke out. He informed me to just let go of my ways, because I assure you nothing comes close to fulfilling this journey until the journey completes its very last stage. There you will find yourself living rather not dead. Lord said you will be grateful when you reach that place, for judgment is something that can never be held. So I informed my Lord. I heed and lie awake in the steps of those women that carved out my way through wombs reborn and now known to every inner state. Dear Lord, abide with me, and with me I might just feel okay. You see, those became the preachings, so much the teachings I have decided to shed. If there is a pause in the sentences, because I am the semicolon in every verse. I'm written only to realize my word before it could even be read. Such becomes the way of those that seek me from within, through all lands known and all beings in their becoming, and in that creation I see my win. If there is anything you want from me, this is all I can give. And if this is not enough for you, then just turn around and look around you to see the simple gifts that I left beside you in every form and formless being, through every nurtured plant and through the natural realm of just my existence. There you see the saints sing in glory and in praise. Mother Gaia and his maidens chant this very grace today, the one that seeds every soil in our hearts and innate. I've planted one today, and I pray that all hostages of the stage just come back home today. For there is nothing more I've asked for but to breathe once more. Have fun tonight. Bye. I love you. Thanks for coming. For there is nothing more I've asked for but to breathe once again, to be okay in the face of another before a camera can really capture my lens. But it's better to live that way than to carve out just another grave. For if accountability comes with this plunder, then I'll let the lowest and lowest of lowest be my states. It's better to live that way than to carve out another grave. For if accountability comes with this plunder, then I'll take the lowest and the lowest of these states. Because it seems that that's where we left it all behind. Karma has its way, but Maya seeps through each and every grain before you can find this gift of true light. And in this light, I pray to say just one last grace, that I have come to realize what it means simply to pace. With stillness, then my breath, between every space that I bled, between the awareness that grows, only if I let patience breathe and just simply unfold. Only if I let patience breathe and simply unfold through every notion I won't touch, through each glance that I can let go and rehearse, through every space that deserves a capture only to glance upon and then find its own fixed structure, to the ricochet effect that comes back time and time again. You see, if I heed through this message, then this message has become my executive pen. It tells me I deserve more than just loneliness. This is where you see Kendrick's buzz. It tells me that I deserve more than loneliness, more than just drugs, more than just sex on dial plays that leave tastes that really hurt, more than just sad days alone, more than just being stagnant and calling it my home, more than just what meets the eye. Just because I overthink it doesn't mean that indigestion that leaves one wholeheartedly is full in its appetite. I can't even lie. More than just a beauty, more than just a tool, more than just a giver in receiving. I know I can feel my hue. It tells me I deserve love, to be held for honesty and nothing else here, there, or above. It gives me more than I can give, more than I can hold. When I look at what I deserve, I have physically realized that I have to physically unchain myself from mental states that have stagnated my visual growth. You see, I'm more than just a book, more than just a theory. When my pen ignites my ink, see, my Lord always tells me that you're innate in me. Thank you so much.